All right, first question. Again, this is a redo, so I apologize because I was not sharing my whiteboard. Question one, the given graph indicates federal government tax revenues in billions of dollars for the years 2001 to 2006. Part A, if the ordered pair XY represents a point on the graph, what does X represent? What does Y represent? Your x-axis is here, and that represents the year. The y-axis is going north to south in the middle, and that represents, for this problem, revenue in billions of dollars. Part B, estimate the revenue in 2004. That's easy. You just locate 04 and then find the point, and that point crosses with 1800. So the revenue in 2004 is 1800 billion. Part C, write an ordered pair that gives approximate federal tax revenues in 2004. Your ordered pair has to be in alphabetical order with X first and then the Y coordinate. So 2004, comma, 1800 is the correct ordered pair. Part D, what does the ordered pair 2006, comma 2500 mean in the context of this graph? This is very easy to answer. In 2006, federal tax revenues were about 2500 billion. So there was really nothing to this first question. All you had to do was use the graph to answer pretty easy questions. Next question. And hang on just a second. Hold on just a minute. Let me go back. There we go. Second question. Use the intercepts to graph the following equation. Anytime you have x and y on the same side equal to some number, when you draw your xy chart, let x equal to 0 and find its y value. And then let y equal to 0 and find its x value. So when we let x equal to 0, we have 0 minus 4y equal to 8. The 0 goes away. To solve for y, just divide both sides by negative 4. When x is 0, y is negative 2. Second go around, we'll let y equal 0. In your original equation, wherever you see a y, plug in 0. The middle part goes to 0 or disappears entirely, and you're left with x equal to 8. By the way, remember that the first order pair 0, -2 is your y-intercept. That's the point where your line crosses the the y-axis. The order pair 8, 0 is your x-intercept. And that's the point on the x-axis where your line intersects. Remember, in my math lab, when you use the graphing tool, you only need 2 ordered pairs. Once you plot those 2 ordered pairs, or once you plot the last ordered pair, my math lab will draw a line through the points for you. So here's the graph of our line. The next question has the same directions. Where you're given a line, and we need to use the intercepts to graph the equation. So here's our equation. Just a second, I'm copying it from my notes. Use the intercepts to graph the equation 4x plus 3y equal to 12. Draw your xy table. Again, because we have x and y on the same side, use 0 for x and 0 for y. Now, when we plug in 0 for x into our original equation, we're basically left with just 3y equal to 12. Divide both sides by 3. So when x is 0, y is equal to 4. To find our second order pair, let y equal to 0 now. In place of y in our original equation, we'll plug in 0. The middle part disappears, and we're left with 4x equal to 12. And let's divide both sides by 4. Therefore, when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 3. Let's plot our 2 points and connect the dots to form our line. We have 0, 4, and we have 3, 0. And when we connect the dots, we have the graph of our line. To sum up this type of question, what to do? Anytime you have x and y on the same side equal to some number, use 0 for x and 0 for y to generate 2 ordered pairs. Let me screenshot the next question. Question 4, find the slope of the line through the given points. Part B, based on the slope, indicate the behavior of your line. Given only 2 points, use this particular formula. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 all over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, in which x sub 1 and y sub 1 is your first order pair, and x sub 2 and y sub 2 is your second order pair. Let's carefully plug in our x's and y's into our slope formula. We have 2 minus a negative 4 all over negative 2 minus a negative 5. We know from previous problems that a double negative turns into a single positive sign. When we do the calculations, 2 plus 4 is 6. Negative 2 plus 5 is 3. That's how we got 2 for the slope. Part B, find or indicate the behavior of your line based on the slope. Because your slope is positive, your line will go uphill, or more formally, the line through the points rises from left to right. Conversely, say your slope was negative. If your slope is a negative number, that means your line will fall from left to right. Let's look at another question in which you have to find the slope. For this next question, you're given a graph of a line with 2 points marked. Find the slope of the line if it exists. You can use your slope formula, or you can use the formal definition of slope, rise over run. The rise is the behavior in the y value, and the run going from left to right, depending on the sign, is how the x coordinate behaves. So just follow my cursor right here, or my line. I'm starting from here, and I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spots where it's on the same level as our second point. So our rise, since we went up, is a positive 6. Now to get to our second point, we have to go over left. Going left means your run is negative. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots to get to our second point. Therefore, our slope is negative 6 over 5. If you want to use the slope formula where you plug in your points, that's a good strategy also. You'll get the same slope. Let's look at the next problem. And I'm going to switch to my Adobe PDF file that contains the examples. Number 7 is another graph. The graph shows the number of wireless subscriber connections in millions in a country from 2007 to 2014. Part A. In the context of this graph, what does the ordered pair 2014, 376 mean? Well, 2014 is the year, and 376 is the number of connections in millions. So part B is the correct interpretation. In 2014, there were 376 million wireless subscriber connections in the country. Part B, use the given ordered pairs to find the slope of the line. Now let me copy and paste part of our graph, and we'll bring it over to the whiteboard so we can calculate the slope. All right, let's calculate the slope. In no particular order, I'll just label the top point up here x sub 1 and y sub 1, and label the bottom point x sub 2 and y sub 2. Let's write down our slope formula first. And plug in everything. Up top with the y's, we have 256 minus 376 all over the difference in our 2 years. 2007 minus 2014. So when we do the subtractions, we end up with negative 20 over negative 7, which is 20 over 7. And my math lab wants us to round our answer to the nearest whole number. Oh, I apologize. That numerator should be negative 120. My subtraction is wrong. So we're really dividing 120 by 7. Now you'll get this particular answer. It would be 17.14 something. My math lab wants your slope rounded to the nearest whole number. So our slope would be roughly 17. Now let's go back to our actual question. $17 is correct. Million per year is the correct units, million per year. Part C, interpret the slope. Part C, I'm sorry. The correct answer is B. The number of wireless subscriber connections increased by an average of 17 million each year from 2007 to 2014. You wouldn't select C because that would indicate a slope of 0 where there's no change. You wouldn't select A because decrease by means a negative slope. All right, let's look at this next word problem. And I'm going to copy and paste it on our whiteboard. All right, in 2007, the number of digital cameras shipped totaled 166 million. There were 24 million shipped in 2012. Find and interpret the average rate of change in the number of digital cameras shipped per year. We're using the slope formula. Y2 minus Y1 over X sub 2 minus X sub 1. Now, this is a question that we need to figure out which numbers are Y's and which numbers are X's. Look at this part right here. Number of digital cameras per year. The word per means division. So the number of digital cameras is actually your Y's, and the years are our X's. So let's plug in, let's see, 166 minus 24 and 2007. I'm just plugging in the order that I see it, minus 2012. When we perform the calculations, we get 142 all over -5. And I'm going to put that in my calculator. You get -28.4. My math lab says round to the nearest million. So our slope is actually -28. The second part, interpret our average rate of change. And usually when you see the phrase average rate of change, that means slope. So interpret the slope in the number of digital cameras shipped per year. Well, we would eliminate A and B because of the keywords there, increased and increase. Those mean positive slope. C is the correct answer. The number of digital cameras shipped decreased by an average of 28 million per year for 2007 to 2012. Let's look at our next question. Hold on just a second. Let me copy and paste it from my examples. And let me copy and paste the Cartesian plane since we have to do some graphing. Question 9, for the equation 6x plus 5y equal to 30, write it in slope-intercept form, and from there, give the slope of the line and the y-intercept and graph the line. Slope-intercept form is the form y equal to mx plus b. That means for our given equation, we need to get the y part by itself. So to get the y part, or get the 5y by itself, we need to move the 6x to the right-hand side. Just like a regular linear equation with one variable, anytime you hop across the equal sign, you have to do opposite signs. So we'll subtract 6x from both sides. And that leaves us with 5y equal to negative 6x plus 30. Now we almost have our equation in slope-intercept form. One more step to get y by itself. Divide each part of your equation by 5. The 5's cancel, leaving us with y by itself, equal to negative 6 over 5x plus 6. Now that our equation is in slope-intercept form, we can easily identify the slope and the y-intercept. Your slope is your number in front of the x, so that's negative 6 over 5. And the number that occupies the b is your y-intercept. And write your intercepts, whether you're finding the x or the y-intercept, write your intercepts as ordered pairs. So we know that our line crosses the y-intercept at 6, and that is the ordered pair 0, 6. Now, to graph this equation, all you need is one other point. Now, you can draw an XY table and get another point, or let's use the definition of slope to find our second point. Keep in mind that basic definition of slope is rise over run. Now, because our rise is negative, then that means we go down 6 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And because our run is positive 5, then that means we run 5 spots to the right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and plot our point. Without having to draw an XY chart, we found the second ordered pair in order to graph our equation. Let's look at the next question. Oops, hold on just a second. I copied the wrong question. This next question is very similar to the question we just got through doing. All right. Given the equation 5x minus 3y equal to 15, find all the same information and graph the line. So we have 5x minus 3y equal to 15. And we need to get our equation in slope-intercept form, or again in the form y equal to mx plus b. So that means to get y the y term by itself. In this equation, we need to move the 5x to the right-hand side. So that involves subtracting 5x from each side. That leaves us with negative 3y equal to negative 5x plus 15. We almost got y by itself. The last step to get y by itself is divide each part of our equation by negative 3. Giving us y equal to, and be careful with your signs, this is actually a positive 5/3 x now, minus 5. So we got part A answered. Because our equation is in slope-intercept form, we can easily identify the slope and y-intercept. Remember, the slope is the number in front of your x. That's 5/3. And the negative 5 is your y-intercept. But again, when we plot the y-intercept at negative 5, that's actually an ordered pair 0, negative 5. So don't just put negative 5. You got to express it as an ordered pair. Now we're going to, let me change that to purple to match the color of our line. Let's use the slope, the rise over run definition to get our second point. From our y-intercept here, we rise 5 spots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And because our run is also positive, then we move 3 spots to the right. So 1, 2, 3 spots, and we stop. Connect the dots, and you got the graph of your line. Again, remember to use the graphing tool to graph just a regular line. All my math lab needs are 2 ordered pairs. Next question. We actually have to find the equation given some information. Write an equation in standard form of the line passing through the points 3, 5 and negative 3, 7. Standard form just means x and y are on the same side, equal to some constant c. And another stipulation, and I apologize I didn't mention this in class, is that your a, or the number in front of your x, must be positive. Well, the only thing we can find with this limited information is the slope. So let me write down our formula first. X sub 1 and y sub 1 as our given first ordered pair. And x sub 2 and y sub 2 is our given second order pair. We'll plug everything in carefully. Plugging in the y's, we have 7 minus 5. And plugging in the x's in the same order, we have negative 3 minus 3. And that gives us 2 over negative 6. Let's reduce this to lowest terms. So this will be negative 1/3 for the slope. Now you can find your equation several different ways. You can use the slope-intercept form. Y equal to mx plus b. It doesn't matter which point you use, you'll get the same correct equation at the end. I'm going to use just 3 and 5. So in place of y, we'll plug in 5. Our slope, or m, is negative 1/3. Our x that we're using is positive 3. The only thing we don't know that we need to find is the y-intercept, or letter B. Right here, the 3's cancel, and we're left with 5 equal to negative 1 plus b. Just add 1 to both sides to find the missing y-intercept. So b is equal to positive 6. Now, here's what you do next. Use your y-intercept form again. But this time around, only plug in your slope and your y-intercept. So we have y equal to negative 1/3 x plus 6. Let me clear up some confusion. If the directions say write an equation in slope-intercept form, then you're done here. If the directions say write your equation in standard form, then we need to get x and y on the same side and equal to some number. Let's get rid of the fraction first by multiplying each part of our equation by 3. So that leaves us with 3y equal to, in the middle, the 3's cancel, leaving us with negative 1x plus 18. The final step in order to get x and y on the same side is we need to add 1x to both sides. So our final answer in the appropriate standard form is x plus 3y equal to a positive 18. Let me make up a similar problem with different given information where we need to find the equation of the line. So let me clear this out. We need to find the equation of our line with this given information. Our slope is -2, and our line passes through the ordered pair 1, 7. Let's use our slope-intercept form to get started. Y equal to mx plus b. Our given y is 7. Our given slope is -2. And our given x-coordinate is +1. So we now have 7 equal to -2 plus b. Just add 2 to both sides to get the y-intercept. Therefore, b is equal to +9. Now, part 2, we're going to use the the slope-intercept form again. But the second go around, we'll only plug in the slope and the y-intercept. So our equation, we have y equal to -2x plus 9. Now that would be your final answer if my math lab asked for your equation in slope-intercept form. But what if my math lab wants your equation in standard form? Well, that means you need to get the x's and y's on the same side. So we'll add 2x to both sides. So our final answer in standard form is 2x plus y equal to 9. So pay attention, read the directions carefully because they will tell you what type of equation they're looking for. All right, the next question on our notes is another word problem. So let me copy and paste it. By the way, there are some questions that I have removed from the Lesson 6 homework that you have gotten full credit for. So you'll probably get a message stating that your instructor has already given you full credit for this question or some type of similar message. All right, a cell phone plan includes 900 anytime minutes for $40 per month, plus a one-time activation fee of $34. Let X represent the number of months and Y represent the cost of dollars. Answer parts A through C. Part A, write an equation in slope-intercept form for this situation. I'm just going to talk you through this answer. Again, there's that keyword PER, per, that means multiplication. So per month, and because X represents the number of months, then that part of our equation is 40 times X. Plus, which means addition, a one-time activation fee of $34. So that's where the 30 plus 34 originated. Part B, find and interpret the ordered pair associated with the equation for x equal to 9. All right, so let's use the equation we found from part A to answer part B. In place of x, plug in 9. And we have now 360 plus 34, which is 394. So our ordered pair in alphabetical order, x is 9 and y is 394. The rest of part B, interpret our ordered pair. What is the correct interpretation? Part B makes the most sense. The cost of the plan for 9 months, remember months is X, is $394. Remember the amount or cost in dollars is our Y. So B is the correct interpretation. Part C, over a 2-year contract, how much would this plan cost? Again, we're using the equation that we found from part A. Now be careful. Let's see. We're looking for the cost over a 2-year contract. Be careful. Our X is in terms of months. So we need to convert 2 years into 24 months. So that's what we'll plug in for X, 24. 24 times 40 is 960 plus 34. So over a 2-year, the cost of a 2-year contract for the cell phone package is exactly $994. These application problems are not as bad as I thought. All you got to do is just read the information carefully several times if necessary. This concludes today's lecture video over lesson 6. If you have any questions, of course, reach out to me via email or through the Ask My Instructor help tool.